Much of the music I listened to back in the day was the stuff that my dad would play for me. He was highly into the folk scene in Austin and around Texas, and one of the songs I loved to listen to was Robert Earl Keen's cover of Terry Allen's Amarillo Highway.
I'm a high, straight and plain view, a side bed and Idaloo, and a fresh deck in New Deal.
Fun song to listen to, good for driving, but never did I take the time to listen to the other songs on A Bigger Piece of Sky. This album is like a collection of featurettes depicting the Wild West in different time periods and focusing on individuals who have fallen on hard times. I prefer albums with a wide variety of topics, and this is a great example. By the way, if you find this album on iTunes, the track listing is that of the 2004 re-release, which according to Wikipedia was originally the intended listing. However, I prefer the 1993 original release. It was the one I grew up with, and I think it works better. I think it's paced better, musically and emotionally, and is resolved perfectly. And as it just so happens, the final track on the 04 version happens to be the first track on the 93 version.
I'm tied to the bone, my back is to the wall, I've been on my own so long I can't recall.
As soon as you hear those opening chords and backing track, the atmosphere is all set. For me, this makes me feel like I'm driving down a long Texas route through the countryside, the night beating down on the grass, hills, and every little thing that passes by. As for what it's about, it's a relatively simple song about a simple cowhand trudging across the country on his horse to his true love.
Take me in your arms tonight, hold me to your breast, tell me it will be alright, so I can take my rest.
I wouldn't say this is one of the stronger tracks, others have a lot more depth to them, but it definitely does a good job of setting the mood for this album. Contemplative, brooding, and sometimes very dark. Whenever Kindness Fails is a song about a fugitive on a train who kills people because they're not nice to him.
So I shot 'em down, one by one, then I left 'em along the rails. I use my gun whenever kindness fails.
Quite settling. But as is, it creates a mood too. Beautiful guitar chords, making the tone very sad and meditative. But nevertheless, I wouldn't say this is one of the stronger tracks either. Where other songs we'll eventually hear tell stories with beginnings, middles, and ends, this is more of an exploitation piece. The first two verses depict different scenarios, and then the third verse just tells it like it is.
They said that I was just a dumb cowpoke, I didn't want to make a fuss. I asked them who would break and who would steer. They started pointing back at me. You can laugh into a loaded gun, and you'll likely lose your place.
It may sound like I'm not being too kind to this album, but not to discredit these two songs so far. Some are just better than others. This song is just fun, about hitting the road, playing cards, picking up women, and eating your hangovers away.
I'm panhandling, manhandling, post-holing, high-rolling, dust-bowling, daddy. I ain't got no blood in my veins, I just got them 4 lanes of hard Amarillo highway.
Not really too much to say here, but as I said before, this was the song I liked the most growing up. I have no idea what dictated my taste in music back then. Maybe it was just the most upbeat, maybe it was the closest thing to a rock song. Kids take time to develop, okay? But no, I wouldn't say it's my favorite song on the album. That would be I feel like I'm contradicting myself by saying that the first two songs were too simple, and that my favorite track is probably the most simple on the album. It's just a traditional love song.
You set my soul on fire like no one else before.
I thank my lucky stars tonight. I ride alone no more.
But maybe I'm just a sucker for romance. And this song does a great job of painting the picture of two lovers just lying together in the big open frontier and telling each other how much they've changed each other's lives. And you know what? I will say this song has more depth to it. Listen how in the last verse they admit their fear of what's to come.
And I know the wheels beneath us will roll, and time surely steals this moment we hold. But tonight is the night that dreams are made of.
Will they lose each other? Will their love fade? How will it all end? But it doesn't matter. They have each other now, so they will embrace the moment. Everything's right on this night right for love.
On this night right for love.
Now this next song is definitely up there. If you ask me, many of Keen's songs could be adapted into feature films. This is definitely one of them. The title character of Jesse is an outlaw who has had his property taken away by the corrupt banker Mr. Brown. And Jesse's love interest, Luann, just so happens to be stuck with Brown.
How could she ever love him? He never was around. Jesse with the long hair hanging down. His true love loved the outlaw who hated Mr. Brown. That was Jesse with the long hair hanging down.
But then there's Jesse's old partner, Sheriff Paul.
They had been compadres many years before. Jesse saved his life one time back before the war.
What Keen's songs and many great films share in common is the use of subtlety.
The bullet that killed Mr. Brown came through the window pane, put a hole above one eye and lodged down in his brain. Never saw a puff of smoke, no flash, no fire, no sound from Jesse with the long hair hanging down. Sheriff Paul was fast asleep, his hat down on his eyes.
You can just imagine a scene in which a bullet seems to come out of nowhere, killing Mr. Brown. Then it cuts to Sheriff Paul just lying in bed. Nobody ever says it, but you know Paul killed Brown. This is easily one of the best songs in the album.
Dust scatters in the wind. Love is all that matters in the end, my friend.
Blow You Away is almost like a Bob Dylan song. No chorus, just multiple verses all ending with the name of the song. This one is pretty much just about a guy coming home from work, and by the constant mentioning of the term blow you away, this guy is clearly paranoid. He doesn't trust anyone. His boss, the cops, strangers on the street, the people who serve him, they'd all just as soon blow him away.
You got in some trouble in high school, but you feel like a new man today. You keep to yourself because anyone else would just as soon blow you away.
By this line, we get a sense that this guy is either in college or just got a job. It's safe to say he's very young and is just worried about anything going wrong. I think we all feel that way sometimes. I know I do. This right here is definitely the darkest track on the album. From what I can gather, it's about a man who gets killed because of religious reasons.
Told my family that I'd be the end to all they've done. I was born the seventh son of the seventh born.
The quiet acoustic chords and the rusty electric chords create a dirty cowboy feel that lets you know you're really listening to something serious. use of what sounds like military drums at the end creates a sense that after the wrongful death that has been discovered, the crimes in Arkansas are finally being paid for. This, I'd have to say, is the weakest track on the album. It's kind of like Amarillo Highway, but more jazzy. Just about a couple driving and having fun, and carrying it on to the next generation.
Daddy got the blue skies, mama got the breeze. Me, I got my mama's eyes, my daddy's blue keys. Gonna do things my way now, I finally got one flying down the highway, my baby riding shotgun.
It's not too bad, but it's really nothing too special. If Night Right for Love is my favorite song, this is a close second. Where I think Jesse could make a good Western thriller, this could be a good solid drama.
If I could live my life all over, it wouldn't matter anyway. 'Cause I never could stay sober on the Corpus Christi Bay.
It's just about a guy who works a lousy job on an oil rig and finds his fun partying with his brother. Eventually, through circumstances, the brother is forced to turn his life around and the narrator is left all alone. It's really just a sad song about being comfortably stuck. And I know how that feels. You know your life isn't perfect, but if things were thrown out of whack, it might be too much to handle. At first, I didn't really dig this song too much. It was very short and seemed to be just another account of an outlaw cowhand. But now that I look at it, the fact that it's so short and doesn't use a solo or third verse to carry it on highlights the gut-pounding feeling of things never getting better.
And I'll never put a saddle on this crazy cowboy dream.
Those who felt they could only escape their chains of unhappiness through exacting revenge on their superiors will be looking over their shoulder for the rest of their lives. Unless, of course, like I said, the re-release ends with So I Can Take My Rest. While it may seem like a good idea to have an album end with a song with the word rest in it, Paint the Town Beige is a song about settling down, which in of itself is resolution.
I gave up the fast lane for a blacktop county road. Just burned out on all that talk about the mother lode. I traded for a songbird, a bigger piece of sky. When I miss the good old days, I can't imagine why.
Presumably, it's about Keane quitting the spotlight and returning to his country roots, just cruising through the countryside, going fishing and staying cooped up inside during the winter. But still he has thoughts of whether or not he should have left. Simply put, no matter what you do, life isn't going to be perfect. You can find happiness, but it won't last forever. You can get away from the glossiness of the city, but just because you get away from the skyscrapers blocking your bigger piece of sky, you still miss the luxuries of your piece of fortune and fame. It should be mentioned that Keane isn't especially a great singer.
Across the desert on a dining car in the spring of '91, I met some people drinking at the bar. They were laughing, having fun.
But in his defense, I firmly believe that proper note hitting doesn't save shallow, lazy lyrics. As long as you know how to write deep, meaningful pieces and you sing it like you believe it, then you'll truly succeed. In short, a bigger piece of sky isn't perfect, like life itself. But as life itself can be, it's still pretty damn good.
I gave up the fast lane